The first night, Alex stood aboard the cruiser Lumacrest. He had no idea that his life would soon be tied to an alien commander whose presence could stir entire fleets to silence. Her name was Lyra, a warrior from a distant system known for its towering cities of glass and storms of glowing crystal dust. To the rest of the galaxy, she was a respected leader. To Alex, she became something stranger, something that sat between fear and awe, something that felt like a shadow stretching across his future. Alex was a technician from a human colony that prided itself on stubbornness and practical work. He had joined the interspecies exchange program, expecting hard labor, long hours, and the usual clashes between species. What he had not expected was to be assigned directly to the private quarters of a commander like Lyra. He wondered if someone back home was laughing at him for accepting a role that sounded harmless on paper. The first time he saw her, he understood why most officers spoke softly in her presence. She carried herself with a balance of calm and dominance that left every soldier standing straighter. Lyra's quarters were larger than most, shaped like a circular sanctuary, with walls made of pale metal that shimmered faintly in the low light. At the center of the room rested her sleeping platform. It looked like a bed in the same way a mountain looked like a hill. It rose from the floor in gentle arcs of woven material that shifted color based on her mood. Since Alex's job was to maintain the systems of her personal chamber, he quickly learned that her sleep environment required constant adjustments due to the unusual energy fields her species produced during rest. On his first night shift, Alex watched the readings on a panel while Lyra prepared to settle into her nightly regeneration cycle. She moved with a predator's grace, but there was a softness in the way she lowered her guard once inside her private space. When she looked at Alex, her eyes were steady, focused, and far too knowing. He felt as if she could interpret the tremor in his breath. "Do not fear my presence, Alex," she said. Her voice carried a resonance that vibrated in the air. "You are here because your kind possesses a unique steadiness under pressure. I need such steadiness." Alex tried to answer without his voice cracking. "I will do my best, Commander." Lyra stepped closer. She stood taller than him by nearly a head. Her posture and gaze left no room for false confidence. "Good. Then you will stand by during my regeneration cycle. If any change occurs in my field, you must respond. The nights can be dangerous." He nodded, hoping that the faint dryness in his throat did not betray him. He had been told that her species developed immense energy surges during rest, enough to crack metal if not controlled. Still, the idea that she wanted him nearby felt strange. He wondered if she sensed something in him that even he did not understand. When she laid herself upon the sleeping platform, the material shifted from pale silver to a deep violet glow. Alex monitored the field as the air hummed with invisible power. What he had not expected was the sudden jolt that pulled him forward. It felt like a gravity pulse, a soft tug that wrapped around him with no warning. His boots dragged across the floor. Before he fully understood what was happening, he found himself standing at the bedside. Lyra opened one eye. Though resting, she seemed halfway aware. "My field is stronger tonight," she murmured. "Do not resist it." Alex swallowed hard. "Commander, should I adjust the dampeners?" "Not yet," she replied. "I must test your resolve." "You will remain there." He obeyed, standing at the edge of the platform while waves of energy brushed against him. It felt like gentle wind swirling beneath his skin. Lyra closed her eyes again, and the room dimmed. The hum deepened. Alex realized he needed to brace himself against the force growing in intensity. Each night thereafter held a similar pattern. The field would pull him closer, sometimes even lifting him off his feet. At first, he feared that stepping so near her resting form would count as crossing some forbidden line, but she insisted on it as part of her discipline. Her species, she explained, believed that regeneration required the presence of a stable mind nearby. That mind had to be human, for only humans could endure the chaotic pulse without losing focus. She called him her anchor. Her tone made the term sound ceremonial. Still, he questioned why she needed him in such close proximity, why the field always dragged him toward the very place where she lay. She insisted it was simple physics. But one night when the energy surged so strongly that Alex fell onto the edge of her platform, Lyra opened her eyes with a faint curve to her lips. "You struggle each night, and yet you never break," she said. "This battle you fight against my field is a measure of your will. It feels less like a battle and more like being dragged," Alex said, pushing himself upright. Her gaze sharpened. "Then learn to stand your ground." She reached for the controls embedded in the side of the platform. Without warning, the room darkened further, and the field intensified until Alex's legs trembled. It was as if invisible currents encircled him. He planted his feet and fought to remain standing, every muscle strained. Lyra watched him with an expression that blended approval and challenge. "You will endure," she said. "Your kind always does." He felt his chest tighten as he fought the pull. The energy swirled around his arms and wrapped gently around his torso. It felt almost like an embrace made of raw force. When the field finally eased, he collapsed to one knee, breathing heavily. Lyra lifted herself slightly, studying him. "You lasted longer than expected," she said. "Good." Alex wiped the sweat from his brow. "Commander, may I ask something?" "Speak. Why choose me?" "There are other humans on this ship." She paused for a long moment. "You enter a room with quiet steps. You do not demand attention, yet attention finds you. You carry a resolve that sharpens when pressed. My field reacts to certain minds, and yours stirs it to motion. It tests you because you can withstand it." Alex felt heat rise in his face. Her words sounded like praise, though she delivered them with her usual quiet command. From that night forward, he understood why she kept him close. He was not merely a technician. He was part of her nightly resilience. He grounded her, and in a strange way, she strengthened him that as weeks passed. The rest of the Luma Crest began to notice changes in Lyra. She grew sharper in battles, more focused during strategy meetings. Even her posture relaxed slightly when Alex entered the room. Soldiers whispered that the human technician held some unknown influence over her. Alex pretended he did not hear the talk, though he sensed there was truth in their observations. One evening, the ship drifted through a nebula of shimmering particles. The glowing dust illuminated the corridors. Lyra summoned Alex to her quarters earlier than usual. When he arrived, he found her standing near the panoramic window. The light framed her silhouette. "We are entering hostile territory," she said. "Tonight the field will be intense. I need your full strength." Alex nodded. "I am ready." She studied him with a long, thoughtful look. "You have grown since the first night. Your mind is steadier. Your presence is stronger. Stay close to the platform. Do not fear what may occur." He took his place at the edge of the platform as she settled onto it. The material glowed with deep gold. The hum began at once. The field surged in a way he had never felt. It wrapped around him with fierce intention. His feet dragged, but he resisted. The pull grew stronger, almost overwhelming. Lyra's eyes remained closed, but her expression tensed. The room trembled. Alex braced himself, teeth clenched. The field lifted him a few inches off the floor. He felt suspended in a river of pulsing force. He struggled to stay upright when he landed again. He planted his feet and pushed against the invisible current as if fighting a storm. Moments stretched into minutes. Sweat trickled down his neck. His muscles shook. Yet he refused to yield. For reasons he could not fully explain, He felt an instinctive desire to protect her from the chaos of her own energy. His determination anchored the field. Slowly, the violent pulse began to steady. Lyra exhaled, the tension in her body easing. The glow of the platform softened. When she opened her eyes, she fixed them on Alex with unmistakable gratitude. "You held it," she said quietly. "You kept me from fracturing." Alex wiped sweat from his brow. "I told you I would be ready." She sat up slowly. Her hair fell over her shoulders like strands of molten metal. "You have proven more valuable than I expected." The next day, an enemy force intercepted the Luma Crest. Their ships launched a coordinated assault. Lyra took command of the defense with a clarity that stunned even her own officers. She issued orders with precision, weaving strategy after strategy with swift decisions. Alex watched from a secondary control room, feeling both fear and admiration. Her intensity sharpened the crew. The Luma Crest moved like a living being under her guidance. Yet the enemy sent a final desperate shockwave through space, a destabilizing burst that hit the cruiser with enough force to disable the core shields. Lyra made the decision to channel the remaining power into the regeneration system, using her own field as a stabilizer. But her species had always been warned never to do this. Alex knew the dangers. If her field surged uncontrolled, it could consume the chamber. Without hesitation, he ran to her quarters. The doors slid open to reveal the platform blazing with unstable light. Lyra struggled to control the field, her breathing uneven. "Alex," she said through clenched teeth. "Stay back." He stepped forward anyway. "You need an anchor. This is beyond your limit." "Maybe, but I am here." He approached the platform. The energy crashed into him like a wave. He nearly stumbled, but he forced himself upright. The field swirled violently. He planted his feet and braced every fiber of his body. His vision blurred. His muscles screamed. Yet he refused to move. Lyra stared at him with shock and something deeper. "You cannot endure this." "I can. You told me to stand my ground." For a moment, it felt like the field would tear the room apart. Then something shifted. Alex's presence steadied the pulse, just as it had during the nightly cycles, but now amplified. The chaotic glow settled. The hum softened. Lyra regained control of her field, and the power stabilized long enough for the ship to restore its shields. When the danger passed, she sank back onto the platform, exhausted. Alex collapsed to his knees beside her, panting. She reached out a hand, placing it lightly on his arm. "You saved this ship," she said. "You saved me." He met her gaze. "I only did what you trained me to do." Lyra's eyes softened. "You have become more than an anchor. You are a force of your own." From that day on, the crew regarded Alex with newfound respect. His role evolved from technician to field stabilizer, a title no human had ever held. He worked alongside Lyra openly now, no longer hiding the unusual bond that had formed between them. Every night remained a battle of will and energy, but it became a shared ritual rather than a trial. The field still pulled him toward her, but he understood its rhythm. He understood her, and she understood him. Through each challenge, Alex learned that strength was not only measured by power or stature, but by the unyielding resolve to stand firm when everything else threatened to pull one away. And Lyra learned that even the mightiest commanders sometimes needed a quiet presence at their side, someone who could steady the storm. Together, they became known across the fleet as a pair whose combined will could shift the tide of conflict. Their story spread through space, told in various forms, each version highlighting the strange and powerful bond between a human and his alien commander, who dragged him each night into a realm of swirling energy where every moment became a test, a challenge, a battle of discipline and trust. To outsiders, it might have seemed unusual. To Alex and Lyra, It was simply the way they held the universe together, one night at a time.